In 2017, May 2017, an 18-year-old neo-Nazi in Tampa, Florida, two of his three roommates. When the police searched the apartment after that double homicide, they ended up also arresting, in addition to the shooter, they ended up arresting a third roommate, one who was not shot. Turns out that third roommate had been stockpiling a huge amount of homemade explosives in their shared garage. In a separate incident, a little more than a year earlier, March 2016, a 28-year-old woman was arrested for robbing 4 different convenience stores in Maryland while armed with a machete. Well, now get this. It all comes together. Turns out the machete wielder and the explosives hoarder then began a relationship while they were each serving time in separate prisons. Aw. Now, today, those 2 individuals were arrested again. Federal prosecutors allege that the 2 plotted to attack 5 electrical power substations around Baltimore, Maryland. Their plan was allegedly to knock out a ring of 5 specific electrical substations all in one day because they thought that would cause a cascading effect to, quote, completely destroy the whole city, meaning presumably they expected to knock Baltimore into a pre-electric light state of being and one that couldn't easily be repaired. Now, if that whole plan, if that whole idea to shoot up electrical substations to knock out the power semi-permanently and cause major chaos, if that plan is giving you deja vu, you are not mistaken. There have been at least 9 attacks on electric power substations, at least 9 attacks across 3 different states just in the past 3 months. Early last year, Homeland Security issued a bulletin warning that domestic violent extremists have, quote, developed credible specific plans to attack electricity infrastructure since at least 2020. Now, in most of these attacks, suspects haven't been identified, and that means motives can't be identified either. But last month, NPR affiliates in Oregon and Washington obtained an FBI memo showing that neo-Nazi groups were calling for attacks just like this. The neo-Nazis that the FBI was tracking, quote, believe that an attack on electrical infrastructure will contribute to their ideological goal of causing societal collapse and a subsequent race war in the United States.
We're talking about killing. I'm going to make this very clear. That comes mostly under the war section. And I don't talk about the war section, generally speaking, unless I have a lot of time, and I don't have that kind of time to do that on the air. In fact, I've thought about this. When I do get through the war section, how am I going to handle that? Well, basically, I'll handle that, and I'm going to say this now. I'm going to handle that by saying you actually have to go to the book itself.
Okay.
Right. To go to the war and counter-war section. Racism is war. We're already in a war. And the racists are already killing massive numbers of non-white people every day. They deliberately do this. That's what war is. It's not but one war, and that is the war between those who believe in white supremacy and those who don't. That's what it really is all about. All other so-called wars are battles or fights within that war. You might call them small wars. But the war is the war between those who believe in white supremacy and those who don't. That's the war that dominates the planet. Now, in the war section, under the ninth area of activity, war, counter-war, it goes into detail about the only way that non-white people should respond to that in a way of actually using counter-violence as individual persons against the white supremacists. And that's spelled out. All of the qualifications for doing that. And they're pretty harsh, but they're the ones I've come to the conclusion that they're the only ones that can be activated with success if you're going to use counter-war, meaning counter-violence, against the warriors, which are the white supremacists. But I spell it out in detail in the 9th area of activity in the book. I do not like to talk about it on the air for the simple reason that that will add to what? Confusion.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't have any confusion when you start talking about people killing people. want to be very specific about what you're talking about, because it can be confused. Somebody can be misled. Somebody can get the incorrect message. So you don't advocate anything in the way of killing people without going into very specific details about your qualifications for doing so, according to what? Logic, and according to the laws of justice.
Yes.
You want to be very specific about that and not just say things off the top of your head. And so, therefore, I don't like to go into any details about that. And the code prohibits me from going into details about that, other than the details that are spelled out in the 9th area of activity of the compensatory counter-racist code book.
As long as white supremacy exists, always think, speak, and act as if you are in a battle zone, and that people, white or non-white, may do you bodily harm at any time in any place. Do not think that any place in the known universe is safe. I'm going to say that again. Do not think that any place in the known universe is not safe. At all times, do your best to be prepared to fight or to flee unjust attack. Danger in the form of injustice or incorrectness exists every place in the known universe. The white supremacists collectively intend to practice white supremacy forever. Read that again. The white supremacists the white supremacists collectively intend to practice white supremacy forever. Therefore, they will eliminate or help to eliminate enough non-white people to satisfy their need to have fun. But they do not intend to eliminate so many that no non-white people remain. They eliminate or help to eliminate enough non-white people as to frighten those who remain. This is the only way that they can continue to enjoy practicing white supremacy. White supremacists not only enjoy eliminating non-white people, but they also enjoy terrorizing, confusing, intimidating, brutalizing, depriving, or making fun of the weakness, stupidity, and ignorance of non-white people. White supremacists intend to do this forever. This is the race war. This is the only war. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Happy Monday, and welcome back to On the Shoulders of Giants. I am Joseph Ward, and I am continuing my reading of the United Independent Compensatory Code System Concept, a compensatory counter-racist code, a textbook workbook for thought, action, and speech for victims of racism, white supremacy. And I am covering the last area in the book, Area 9, which is war and counter-war. Now, I picked that clip of Neely Fuller specifically because of what he was saying. So because of the specificity of this chapter, and as Neely Fuller just articulated, how it can cause confusion, I'm going to make sure that I'm coming from the information that's in the book and making sense of the information that's in the book. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like this. Please hit that like button. I need all the likes I can get. Hit that like button, comment, and share this video so as many people can see these reviews of the books and make sure that we get into it. Now, this is the last area. I've completed the reading of this. So the next video will be the beginning of our next book. So as you know, the community tab, check the community tab, because I will have my poll up for the next book or the next author we should get into. Amos Wilson, I'm gonna just throw that out to Amos Wilson, but ultimately the choice is yours and yours alone, and it's not up to me. So when I put the book choices on the community tab, make sure you select the one that you feel that we should read. So let's get back into it. So the first question is, what can be done to stop white people from unjustly eliminating non-white people and to stop non-white people from unjustly eliminating each other? According to compensatory counter-racist logic, and as long as white supremacy exists, nothing can be done to stop white people from unjustly eliminating non-white people or to stop non-white people from unjustly eliminating each other until the occurrence of one or more of the following happens. 1, non-white people constantly eliminate non-white people in numbers equal to or greater than the number of non-white people that were eliminated. 2, white people decide to end white supremacy forever and replace it with justice. 3, the force that created the people of the known universe decides to put an end to white supremacy and decides to put an end to the eliminating of people by any people. The note for this is all correct thinking people should regard all existence correctly. Since no victim of white supremacy has absolute control over the making of all existence or has the necessary knowledge and understanding of how all existence is created, then all victims of white supremacy should avoid causing the end of the existence of any person. So remember, we are about defending ourselves, but we are not about the elimination of people unjustly. Any type of eliminating should be for defensive purposes or something that can be just. Other than that, it's incorrect and it's against the code. This includes causing the end of the existence of a person who practices racism. A white person who practices racism is still a person. And so that's where the morality and the humanness of us Black people come in. Now, this does not mean that you take your enemy for granted. That's not what that means. But it means that we are not savages. We are not terrorists. We are not people who go around just eliminating other people just because. We will not tolerate the elimination of ourselves or any other people. Now, we will do what we need to do to ensure that we remain and to ensure that the system of white supremacy no longer exists. And if it has to go to the point of elimination, then that may be what it be. But the object is to replace the system of white supremacy with the system of justice without having to go that far. That's the object.